Good afternoon. Welcome to the City of Urbana Arts and Culture Commission meeting on Tuesday, July 9th, 2024. First item on our agenda today is a call to order and the roll call, please.
Alicia Rodriguez,
Present.
Barbara Headland,
Present.
Abby Harris,
Present.
Mark Anthony Macon,
Present.
Xander Hazel.
Present.
The next item on our agenda today is approval of the minutes from our previous meeting. Do we have any discussion or a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll motion to approve.
May we have a second, please?
I'll second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
No opposed. Thank you. Now, this is an opportunity to check and see, do we have any additions to the agenda today?
No additions.
Thank you. Now we have an opportunity for public input. Do we have any to discuss?
No public input has come in.
Thank you. So we're moving right along. We have some presenters here today to share with us their grant information. We generally have an 8 to 10 minute presentation. So our first presenter is for the Urbana Arts Grant 22 and 23 is DJ Silky. Welcome.
And just for presenters today, Abby, who's sitting right next to Barbara, will be giving a little wave when you reach an 8-minute mark.
All right, welcome back.
All right. Can y'all hear me now? All right. Hello. Okay.
Testing, testing.
All right. So, uh-oh. Let's see if that works. There we go. All right. Well, it's been a long time since I've been on a PC type laptop. Uh, so please bear with me. Well, I don't know how you, let's see.
Use the slideshow. There you go.
Is that it? Boom. All right, cool. Well, hello, my name is Janae Amatis, aka DJ Silky, and 2 years ago, it's been a while, we did the She Spins Urbana 2022 DJ Camp for Girls. All right, our objective is we started with our introductions, how many participants I had, what was learned. They also did a showcase and the different sponsors besides Urbana. Y'all the one that funded it, but we also had a couple people in the community that donated food because each day that we had camp, each camper was able to have dinner as well as a dessert. And then at the end of the camp, they had, for their showcase, they had a plethora of treats and goodies from different people in the community. One is Nothing But Cakes is one. And then CNC Kitchen, they donated food. And yeah, so I just like for every camp, I want to make sure that each camper is able to eat dinner before they are engaging into the activity. All right, like I said, my name is DJ Silky. Well, Janae Amatis, aka DJ Silky, and She Spins Urbana is a week-long educational camp designed for girls of color ages 10 to 17. Each 2-hour workshop introduced camp participants to the history of women of color and disc jockeys and technical instruction. The participating youth designed their own set that they unveiled at a public showcase at the Independent Media Center, IMC. All right, how many participants we had this year? We had in total 15 participants that came in and out through the camp. The last day, I think about 8 or 10 presented, but throughout the whole week, I didn't put a stipulation on who couldn't come and who could come in and who could not come out. So a lot of them came in, they tested it out. Either they missed a day or they came back the next day, but in all majority of them, they stuck with the week-long camp. All right. Well, hold on.
Might just be better than DJ.
Well, hold on. Let's go back. So, what they learned during this camp is they learned basically how to DJ, how to count. In the next slide, there will be a video showing one of the participants actually showing how they count and how they mixed some of the songs that they were introduced in the camp. And we also, I pretty much threw the information out there to them, and they curated their own sets at the end of the camp for the showcase. So this is one of the
Might
participants.
just be better than DJ Swift.
She felt that she was better than me. You see her lips moving, she's starting to count with the beats so she can keep up with what she's supposed to play next.
I just wanna see if you gon' lie, you gon' love me.
She got a little bit more into it, into the video, but she had to make sure she let me know that she was better than me. This year, this is my first time being able to have a guest speaker. So one of my friends that is a DJ out of St. Louis, she is actually a carnival DJ for the cruise ships. And she took time from her busy schedule and she came up and spoke to the youth. So her name is DJ Most Pressers. And yeah, like I said, this is the first time we ever had a guest speaker, so it was a great addition to the camp. All right, showcase time. This is the flyer that we all worked together in putting, for their showcase. They had to go through me for the end input of the flyer before we actually started putting it out there to the public for anybody to come. So mainly their parents, their family members, or anybody in the community that just wanted to come by. I know that year we had a few people from the city of Champaign that came in just to check out and see what the camp was like. And as well as other people from the community. I know Deshaun Williams, he came in. And just, it was open to the public, so anybody could come in. So it was a nice crowd. And here's different pictures of the showcase. This picture right here, this is honestly my favorite picture. It's because one of the girls got nervous in front of the showcase, and so the rest of the participants came behind her and pretty much calmed her down so she could do her set the way it's supposed to be. So that picture, it just spoke volumes of what the camp is supposed to be like. Normally, I don't normally put one person per machine. I try to pair them up so there's 2 people per machine. So if anyone messes up, they can correct themselves. Also, a few of the girls, they became friends. So, like I said, that's one of the main things at a camp. Get close to somebody help you out. It's teamwork. So also, I don't know if you can see close, the shirts that they have is their uniform that they got to wear. Each participant gets a t-shirt as well as a bag and some professional earphones at the end of the camp. So they all looked alike. They were in their uniform. Okay. All right, our sponsors, of course, was Urbana Arts and Culture Center. Can y'all hear me still? Okay. We also, I had my people from Ghetto Genius. They helped out a little bit. Neal Street Blues helped with some food. IMC was generous enough to let us use their building. Nothing But Cakes brought cakes for every participant at the end of it, and CNC Kitchen was also one of the people that helped out with food. All right. That was 2022. Now we're going to go on to 2023. Same concept. This camp, we did not get to do a showcase because scheduling were conflict. Yes, sir. Oh, okay, sorry. I just got a couple pictures for 2023 camp. Same concept. Everybody walked away with a book bag as well as headphones and a T-shirt. And everybody ate. You know, that's one of the big things. I like to eat, so we all gonna eat. All right, this is one of the participants from 2023. I know you can notice the participant from the video before from 2022. She came back and volunteered and helped out some of the participants from 2023 with her skills. And we also had another one from another camp that I've done, and she volunteered to help out one of our youngest participants. And yeah, so that's pretty much my presentation for She Spins 2022 and 2023. And if you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you so much. Anyone have any questions?
Thank you, DJ Silky, for that presentation. Can you, do you do this program with, like, in partnership with other organizations in the community, or is it just through Urbana Arts and Culture?
These were just through Urbana Arts and Culture.
Okay.
The other people that help sponsor are just people that just wanted to bring in food or just help in that capacity.
Okay.
But, or they discounted their food at a rate to help out with the camp.
Cool. How did, just since we had both of the presentations sort of back to back, how did you sort of, I guess, improve the program from one year to the other, if it needed improvements, of course?
This past year, I did not have as much help as I did as the previous year. I gotta say also, I didn't have as big of numbers as I normally do for the previous camp. I think that was partial because some of the students fell off because of the scheduling conflict that I had at IMC.
I see.
But honestly, the camp, that's my baby. I'm usually the only one that's running it. But the bigger it gets, I'm always game for some volunteers.
Okay, cool, thank you.
The students who participated in it, were they only Urbana kids, or was it kids from like all over the community?
The majority of them were Urbana.
Were they? Okay.
Like a good majority, Urbana middle school and high school. So
Fantastic. I'm only asking because I'm going to be teaching at Franklin Middle School in the fall, so I was wondering if you're hosting this in the fall, if I could bring kids over from Unit 4 schools.
I have no problem with it. I'm actually have a camp coming up. I did not get a grant this year through Urbana, but it's going to be at the end of this month at the Urbana Neighborhood Connection Center.
Oh, cool.
And I do have some spots available, so if you know of any kids that would like to try, please let me know.
Awesome.
And where is that site located, please?
Say it again.
Where is that site located?
I cannot think of what
Like
close
tucked
to.
behind, like it's on Main Street, but like
Yeah.
tucked off on a side
tucked
street.
off on the side.
And I
wanna
forget
say
the
it's
name of the side street.
VFW.
Yeah,
It's
it's
right
right by
next
the
to it.
I know where it
VFW.
is, yeah.
Yeah.
It's east of town,
Yep.
yeah, on the way out of town. Great, thank you. You had a question?
Hi, this is great. I was wondering how are the girls doing their DJing out, outside of the camp? And
I have some of them that do want to continue. It's kind of hard to buy, equipment for them to be able to use. I do have some girls that did graduate from my program and they DJ. Like I have a girl that goes to Alabama State right now and she's like one of the main DJs on campus. I also have another kid, she's actually, let's see. She is actually this one right here. She started her DJ business after being in the camp. So my kids, they love it. Also this one right here, her sister, I don't know where her sister is. She's probably in the back somewhere. But her sister always, she actually DJed for Jefferson last year. So they're doing their thing.
Great, that's wonderful.
So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Keep up
Any
the
other
good work.
questions?
All set? Yeah. Thank you so much. Well, speaking of the IMC, our next presentation is with Miriam Larson from the IMC to talk about her 2023 grant.
I hope I did it right.
All right. Can you hear me?
Welcome back.
Good afternoon. My name is Miriam, and I'm the Executive Director at the Independent Media Center. And for the, let's see, I keep getting mixed up on how many times we've done this, but I think this was the second iteration of Unmute. We called it Unmute and Level Up, sound engineering training for women, trans, and non-binary and BIPOC sound engineers. And so we did this in the fall, September 14th to 28th. Here's our flyer for advertising it. And we have the goal of addressing the gap in representation among sound engineers, particularly the sort of lack of representation of women, non-binary and trans, and BIPOC folks in Urbana. So we invite those folks to sign up for the class. And because this was our second year and we're sort of still figuring things out, we decided to just do 3 class sessions and try to do more work, having more concerts. And I'll say a little bit more about that in a moment, but we keep kind of learning and figuring out how to do it better each time. We had, similar to our first round, about 11 participants. We had 6 that participated in paid practicums, where they get to come to a concert and work with a mentor sound engineer who is running a show. It could be music. We had one forum. We had one youth showcase where we had a number of different acts, but they work with a lead sound engineer and kind of follow the process of working with the soundboard and the speakers, doing all the setup, adjusting levels, that sort of invisible work that sometimes you don't notice until it's not going well, and really makes the music soar if it's going well. So over the course, so we had three sessions. We had one musician come to play as a sort of demo session, and then we had our 6 participants come to different events. We were a little tight-staffed for planning the concert. So our initial idea to kind of organize concerts turned out to be a little infeasible because it just takes a lot of work to plan a concert. We ended up sort of hooking in with a number of different events. And so we provided sound for Black Love Day. We provided sound for the Youth Showcase. And then we did one kind of big event called Unmute and Play, where we had Candy Foster and the Shades of Blue perform, as well as a teen artist from Chicago come down. I'm going to think of her name, but I'm blanking on it right now. Really talented, fun performer with 2 backup dancers. And so we had them play for Unmute and Play. I wanted to emphasize that really the majority of this grant goes to paying stipends and wages for our staff. DJ BJ is our lead teacher, as well as the sort of central sound engineer mentor. And then stipends for we worked with one other mentor teacher this time around, and then paying musicians to perform for Unmute and Play and a couple other events. We got $3,000 in 2023-24, and we're grateful to be awarded this grant again this year. And we have a little more staff capacity. We've just hired a second full-time person at the IMC, so I'm excited to be able to do in some ways kind of what I think we'd set out to do with this, which is have more regular opportunities for people to practice what they learned in the class. here's a picture of one of our students working with DJ BJ at our board. One student said, I learned how to do basic mic and speaker setup and how to work the soundboard, set up a cafe concert setting. And, people report appreciating, I know that I do when I've participated in the class, that it is, really hands-on and accessible with the focus on kind of non-majority tech folks, with BIPOC folks, women and trans and non-binary folks being kind of the principal audience. I think it creates a space for people to ask questions and sort of get over the hump of feeling like they don't belong or they're not tech savvy, or these different ways that oppressions kind of make it harder to get in the door for some of these skills. So thanks so much for your support. Here's the class on my left, and then here's the concert with DJ BJ introducing Candy Foster and his band. And yeah, we're excited to do this again, and we're gonna extend it now again to 5 classes based on feedback from students, as well as do an open mic series, kind of with the focus being less on kind of planning the concerts and supporting musicians, and really again kind of focusing in on working with the sound engineers. We also have a potential collaboration with New American Welcome Center to run sound off-site. So we're exploring the idea of doing some sound engineering sort of traveling just to give students more experience and also to serve what we think might be a niche in the community. So yeah, thanks so much.
Any questions from the committee?
I just have a couple. And I might have missed this before. Is there age restrictions for the participants?
No, we had one returning student who was a high schooler. I think because we don't focus on reaching out to youth, it's been mostly adults.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in the photo that you had, I noticed, because full disclosure, I don't know anything about sound engineering, but I saw that you had like the big thing with all the knobs and whatnot. And I've noticed that some folks, they use tablets now. Do folks do you have that type of equipment? Do folks get experience with that too?
No, we didn't when we did this class, but we just purchased a digital board. And so we're right now figuring out, we'll either upgrade our like our system in the IMC, or we'll travel with that.
Okay.
So yeah, we are looking at that.
Yeah, that's great, because I feel like if they can come away with some really good relevant skills, right, and also a diversity of those skills using the different types of equipment, I think that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Do you also have you followed with some of the students that participated in the program last year? Do you know what they're up to? Are they pursuing careers in this? Like, what's...
I mean, we're not really trying to prepare people for careers. I think in the university in Parkland probably are going to do that better than we can. Sure. I think we had the 2 returning folks, and then I guess basically I would say we haven't done a whole lot of follow-up.
Okay.
But I think I keep sort of having the goal of kind of building a little bit more of a cohort. And so because of some of the staffing changes at the IMC, BJ has really transitioned to more of a kind of audio coordinator role. And I think we'll have a little bit more potential to also really honestly, still as we come out of COVID and have more events, incorporate people to help us kind of do more regular events. We in the past tried to work with some of the local bars who have more regular events where maybe practice could happen, but in some ways it's so regular and kind of high pressure and fast paced that it was a little bit difficult to kind of coordinate getting students involved in that. So
I see. Thank you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And what kind of music did you present?
Well, Candy Foster and the Shades of Blue is funk and what does he call himself? Like funk and blues. And then
Were they allowed to make choices or bring?
It's close. Zia Janae is like rock pop, maybe I would describe it as. And so, but then we had one forum. Black Love Day was more like poetry, actually. So, we do really try to get students experiences with a pretty wide range of kinds of music. Of course, it's, I guess I would also say, like, it really is an introduction. Like, there's a lot to know about sound, and each genre, in fact, is different, right? So I think we're kind of priming the pump a little bit for folks to keep learning and figure out where they want to plug in. Yeah.
Hey, well, thank you so much. Good
Super.
luck with
Thank you.
continuing the program.
Yeah.
All right, now our next presenter is Lucas Borges for his grant from 2022, and I happen to personally know he's a very fine DJ. How did you get into being a DJ?
Huh?
How did you get in? This is not what you're presenting, I realize, but.
Yeah, no, I feel like I kind of like started getting to DJing after I started this project. Before I was really into like making videos and films, and then I started getting into music, and just I'm interested in all kinds of arts, and so yeah, I still love doing both. But it was really nice to see Janaea with her project.
Well, welcome.
Thank you. All right, let me set a timer so I don't run out.
Oh, well, you have a timer here. You're covered.
Okay,
You're
good,
covered.
Good. All right, so thanks everyone for being here. And today I'm presenting about the grant Axé is Everywhere. And I'm gonna be talking as the grantee and the producer, and the views that I present here may not represent for the whole group that has a diverse range of views, but I'm going to be talking based on my experience leading crucial parts of it. So this project, the idea, I think is good to put into context how it all started. It started in 2021 with Bloco Gavião, with Alicia. She's been a crucial part of it. And we started seeing the born of this African-Brazilian ensemble, a percussion ensemble. And then we started documenting, because it was very interesting how people from different cultures were doing Afro-Brazilian music. And that became this first video, this project that we use as the motivation to apply for the grant. And by that time, it was me and Leo, the two main people thinking about this project and making the images. So the initial idea was that we started working. We named Axé is Everywhere, because Axé is this word in Portuguese for this good feeling built collectively, usually through music. So we started recording the performances of Bloco Gavião. We did Japan House and the Elena Union. And the idea was to make a bigger film about that scene that we were experiencing by our own. However, after a couple months in that we started making the images, the Bloco kind of slowly faded out, like stopped rehearsing as with the traction that it was in the beginning. And then we started like shifting the project for the more broader idea about Capoeira Angola, which is in the roots of Bloco Gavião. Bloco Gavião is inspired by Master João Grande, which is one of the most important capoeira figures currently alive. He's 91 years old on paper, but he's probably older than that. So Capoeira Angola is this, it's an African-Brazilian cultural manifestation combining elements of music, dance, martial arts, and ancestry. And our goal with this film, called Living Ancestry, was to document the life and history of Master João Grande and explore a concept of living ancestor and showing through his history and through what he represents that he's a living ancestor perpetrating this culture to the next generations. And initially, I had a video here, but I think it's not showing. So initially, our idea was to record with him in Urbana. He was supposed to come here, and because of his health, he had to cancel. So we used our grant to go to New York City, where he is currently based, and he had a big celebration for his 90th birthday. So we used the grant to cover some of the costs of a flight and stay for me and Leo. And we recorded an interview with him. We recorded his birthday, the capoeira roda, like a circle where they do the capoeira. And we collected over 9 hours of footage of him and the whole community around him to make this film. Oh yeah, I mean, it's not gonna show, I think. Oh yeah, never mind. Okay, so once we got all of these footage, we noticed how big the responsibility was. First of all, doing a documentary about a human subject is something very delicate. We're talking about his history, photos and videos of his life. Also, very personal stories of what he represents to people around him. And he is an icon for capoeira. So he's a person with a huge respect. So going to this project, we had to work along the values for capoeira Angola. And me coming from Brazil, but not being part of capoeira culture, was a bigger challenge to understand their necessity and their values. And of course, with any production for films, it takes time. It takes a lot of time with editing, and I spent over 80 hours editing and looking at the footage. And along with that, we had some conflicts internally about like credits and responsibilities. And me delving into this project with so many responsibilities and not knowing, not having experience for that, I think was compromised. But I learned so much from this project, and it has made a huge impact. So on February 2nd, we had our first exhibition. We held a hybrid event at the IMC. So we had people from 2 countries, US and Mexico, different states, and different age ranges as well. And it was, the purpose of this exhibition was to bring people with expertise and gather insights about our initial footage and our film, the initial version. And we collected some really valuable feedback to continue this project in the future. So far, our contributions for the grant Axé is Everywhere was, first, we established this initial version of the documentary, which is still under development. And I finished here my contribution with editing and giving this initial version. But from now on, okay, I'm gonna handle that to Capoeira Angola community, so they know better than me how to distribute that within their community, and also make some adjustments with the director, Leo. He also has some adjustments that he can do better than me. But in addition to that, we also contributed with all this footage that we collected. It's now into the archive. Mestre has an archive in New York City with all his footage, and we contributed to that as well. And also, we documented hundreds of photos and videos of Bloco Gavião, which was this cultural movement started in the city of Urbana. We held events throughout the city, and it's a beautiful movement. I hope it comes back, but we have all this documentation for that can be very valuable for the city and for future projects with Bloco. I think that will be great. So I just like to acknowledge all the team involved in this. Acknowledge Master Danny, which made the link for us and allowed us to go and be with Mestre in New York City. Also thanks to Professor Cascão, who helped us doing the interview and recording from Mexico. He also has taught us so much. To Leo, that contributed with his expertise and his cultural background to making this story of this film. And Mark, who's also been a huge part of this project. All our interviewees from this project. The Capoeira Angola Center of New York City and Illinois. Bloco Gavião. And also personally that followed me throughout this journey, Professor Angela Guayo, who's a professor in cinema studies at the University of Illinois. She has been so much helpful to me. And Caio, who helped recording, Dr. Joy, who helped support me and my family, Jason, and also Vivian and the Urbana Arts and Culture Commission for allowing this to happen. Without this fund, we wouldn't be able to go to New York or to collect all this footage. So appreciate it. Thank you.
Is any of that footage available for the city to have on our website or in our archives or on our UPTV channel? Or will we be able to get some?
So yeah, I personally, we haven't released publicly the footage, but I attached to the report a version of it, the version that we have, and that is available for the city to use. But before announcing, like releasing to the public, I think there's gonna be some other rounds of authorizations, and for us to be able to present that to the audience, we need to get the consent from Mestre. And that's something more delicate. So, yeah, for that stage, it's still in the process. But I attached one version of the film it's like 20 minutes long.
Nice.
It's on YouTube.
I think it's great. It's so good to see you finish this project. Almost, that's wonderful. What are you hoping, or what is everybody hoping with this? You know, I know he wanted to have this done before he dies, you know, not to be an ancestor who's not living when this documentary comes out. So what are you seeing everybody involved as what you want to do with the documentary?
Yeah, initially, what I wanted with this project was to document the views of capoeira as they are in their essence, and go in depth into like what he represents to people that are not from capoeira, to understand his importance. I feel like he's very undervalued, even in Brazil. And what we wanted with this project is to show, the views of capoeira, the life views of capoeira and his significance, and show that to the public. But again, like since it's a very delicate subject, and a documentary is a very personal production as well, I see that it's a very ambitious initiative that we took, and now there's people in Brazil doing like professional production about him. He visited Brazil, so I think it's even more valuable that we started this here and we have a very unique footage in his house with his people. So I hope this becomes available and he can watch, why he's still with us, so we can celebrate that.
Thank you. It's wonderful.
I'm sure it'll be very useful.
I just wanted to say that what I really appreciate about this project is the care that's gone into not rushing into a perfectly finished piece that is what would be shared with everyone, when realizing maybe midway that things are a little bit more delicate and sensitive, or you're working with cultures that maybe require more time to think about it. And I feel like it's good to be able to reassess, and you were able to kind of communicate those concerns, and we kind of like worked on it. And I think that there's incredible research done, and this is a great project, even if it is not its fully finished editing. I think that you all did an amazing job with what you have brought with us, and I'm hoping that I can work with UPTV on sharing whatever it is that grantees want us to share video wise, just because I think that hasn't happened. But I would say that whatever version you feel is the right to share with something like UPTV, where we can share it locally or on YouTube, would be great.
I think it might help people in the community that don't know much about it or haven't been exposed to it before because of where they grew up, and maybe they've just come to this community and they've just heard about it for the first time, and what is that? You might be very helpful to a lot of people.
Definitely. And especially for Bloco Gavião, most of our group was not non-Brazilians interested in the culture, and throughout music, they also got in touch with capoeira culture, which is the essence of Bloco, and people are so interested. That's why we named Axé is Everywhere, because we see that this essence is in people from different cultures, and seeing the importance of mestre is also, I think, a huge contribution, showing that to the world.
Congratulations. Thank you. Okay. Checking to make sure. Next is Urbana Sage Trail with Annie Feldmeyer Adams. Welcome.
Hello, my name is Annie, and I am presenting this deck to, I've presented it to the Bike Pedestrian Advisory Commission minimum 3 times, Historic Preservation Commission, and then today to the Urbana Arts and Culture Commission. I'm going to keep presenting it till I get through the whole list of folks. And there was a working title. There's still a working title. The new working title is the Urbana Meander Walking Trail. And I just want to first talk a little bit about who I am, because it might give you a little background on how I came to this idea. I was born in Wisconsin, the 7th of 9 children in a multiracial household. I have art degrees from the University of Minnesota and the Rhode Island School of Design. My artwork has been shown nationally and internationally in galleries, museums, and alternative spaces. My most visible works are large-scale creative placemaking projects that encourage conversation, community pride, are free, and can be stolen. I work in marketing and communications at the University of Illinois' Granger College of Engineering, serve on the Urbana Bike Pedestrian Advisory Commission, enjoy long bike rides, training for the Illinois Half Marathon, and replacing my lawn with native plant families. I want to show you some maps that I have personally worked on. When I do these large-scale projects, I have found that people want maps. They want physical print maps to kind of see where they're going, to see what's happening. The first one I did it with was Edge Up in Edgewater, and that's when I did People Tend to Sit Where There Are Places to Sit, which is The community donates 100 light movable chairs. You put the chairs out for folks. Folks decorate them, and then you leave the chairs behind, and obviously you pick them up, or whatever. You move them around. I did pop-up seating and stuff. But anyway, Edge Up was the first time I did that. There was Fermento Fest, which was in Urbana. I started Imbibe Urbana and Urbana First Fridays. So every month we would do, we would create a map, and we would have happenings. We'd have art, shopping, places to eat and drink, places to play. Those events would have thousands of people. And then during COVID, I started the Urbana Amble Front Yard Garden and Art Tour. And the first one was done in 2020. And that one I found people wanted a digital map, so I'll make like a Google map that'll have photos. And then they also want a print map. So I have a URL to a website, and on that website you can get the print map. And then we also partner with Solagracia Farms, and we give out maps during the farmers market for the first 3 weekends in July. So just maps. People like maps. It's true. I know. I'm not a good map reader, which is why when I was in Tucson and I walked out of my hotel and I saw this blue line everywhere, I went, what is this blue line? What's happening here? So I Googled it, and it turns out it is called the Turquoise Trail Walking Tour. It's a 2.5-mile loop, so you can't get lost through downtown Tucson. And it sends you into neighborhoods, and you go past 23 sites of historical interest. It's a bright blue 4-inch painted turquoise line on the sidewalk, not on the street. And it's that same paint machine they use to paint like the yellow lines in the middle of the street. You pass by hotel entrances, restaurants, bars, murals, sculptures, historical markers, historic neighborhoods, parks, landmarks, and city buildings. It's an enjoyable way to explore the city without a map, mobile phone, and not get lost. As visitor to Tucson's downtown, you'll find it hard to miss and easy to learn about, and discover the map with an internet search. Because essentially you're like, what's with the blue line? And then boom, you get to see a bunch of maps. And on the Bike Pedestrian Advisory Commission, people kept asking us, how do you get people from the farmers market to downtown? How do we get people moving around? And I saw this, and I also knew that the Royer was opening, the hotel, and I thought, oh man, how could we make something that would allow people to walk like a local? How could we show them why we love this city and all the beautiful things about this city? And so I thought, because it really helped me. I felt, I was able to just walk this entire loop by myself. It sent me through spaces that I felt super comfortable in. I didn't feel like, they didn't send me down an alley. They didn't send, it was very like clean, like you can go here, you can go here. They didn't send me downgrade. Women do not like being below grade. So there was a very well considered. You walk through, they went by like their expo center, and so there's a lot of parking lots, but it was still just a delight. It was just delightful, honestly. So there you see the blue line. You'll see circles on the ground, and that would be like number 12 on your map, and then you would see an object that was there. If, say, we did the Urbana Meander, a 2-mile walking tour of downtown, you may say, why downtown? Well, because there's also a beautiful 3-mile loop that would take us down to the university, by the Woolly Mammoth, up to Bread Co., so on and so forth, down Michigan Avenue, past Carl Park. All that stuff is lovely, and a lot of you may or may not know, but people come to our city. They come to actually these two twin cities, and they have about 48 hours often to decide, where am I going to buy property? Where am I going to live? Where do I want to be? And you'll hear it after person after person. I came here, I needed to find a place to live. And I'm not just talking about professors, I'm talking about many people. They're just looking around, they're like, I got to figure out where to be. And so this is also just a nice way to do that. So it would be nice to have both trails, but let's be realistic. Let's start with one and see what we can get done here. So a 2-mile walking tour of downtown Urbana, Illinois, highlighting structures and sites of cultural interest. The trail would feature a continuous 4-inch purple line. Choose your color. I don't That's easy. I just chose a color. That it's easy to follow on sidewalks and walking paths. Residents new to the city wanting to explore and exercise, visitors to the university looking for a guided walk, and tourists interested in historical markers would use the trail. It would connect the Urbana Farmers Market to downtown, the Rose Bowl's back porch, the Boneyard, and nearby neighborhoods. It would be an enjoyable way to explore the city without a map or mobile phone without getting lost. So there is a link I did create a 2-mile loop, and I did put in it a bunch of historical markers and art. So we have the Cohen Building, we have Goose Alley, we have Native Prairie Roses, the mural, the Rose Bowl Tavern, the Courier Building, that mural, more, on and on. So this is like it is specifically a 2-mile loop. Currently I work with engineers and they really need things to be exact. Because I kept for the Bike Pedestrian Advisory Commission, they kept being like, but is it 2 miles? And I was like, who cares? But
They do.
I see your culture. I respect your culture. You need it to be 2 miles. But yeah, I mean, it can be 2.5. It can be something, but it has to have, that nice, clean narrative. So I like the loop. I've done it a lot. I've walked it frequently. But I'm also open to different loops. I'm often open to different things. I know the Historical Preservation Commission was like, why aren't you going down Main Street? And I was like, it's not accessible. Crossing those streets, there's one intersection that I have to cross. It's pretty dangerous. And on the Bike Pedestrian Advisory Commission, we'd love a crosswalk there. But it's, so I was like, it's not, I want a route that someone who is pushing a stroller or is in an accessible device could use. And then also, I know that the city has money to fix sidewalks, so I know certain sidewalks on this route would need to be fixed. But again, we are in the downtown district, we've done a pretty good job with those, with a lot of the downtown movement spaces. And then just back to this, I am doing the Urbana Amble Front Yard Garden and Art Tour, and that is happening July 20th and 21st from sunup to sundown. And there's maps and people wander around. And I do think because I was kind of like, well, how is this tied together? And I'm like, well, it's because I see people I look at the numbers, I see the Google numbers on this map. I know, like, there's like 20,000. It'll be like every map I put up gets between 20 and 40,000 views. So, and I see people doing the Urbana Amble year round. So it would be cooler if they had that instead of this random people that decided to sign up their front yard and look at, it is, it's really, they're really different experiences. I love the Urbana Amble, but I think like a meander or a walking trail would be a lot nicer. So that's all I have. That's my full presentation. Thoughts, feedback, ideas. Let me know what you think.
Thank you. Any questions?
I don't have any questions, but I do really like this idea. I think one of the challenges that we have in Champaign-Urbana, generally speaking, in the Midwest, is that we don't really know what to do in the wintertime outside, but I feel like this would be a great opportunity to get people outdoors so that we can feel good about everything, especially our mental health in the wintertime, although it is just gray and rainy most times. So I do really like this. I think this would have that, it can be used at any point throughout the year because it is relying on some of our built structures and some of our cultural landmarks. So yeah, no, I think it's great. And, in terms of how do you create a sense of place and how do you get folks that are new to the community to engage with this place. I mean, this is an easy, passive way to do it. So I appreciate the work that you've put into this already.
I just wanted to add to that. I mean, even for people that have lived here for a long time, this town is full of like hidden treasures that you may not even know exist. And, I've been here for like a couple of decades now, and I still will stumble upon things that I'm like, oh, I had no idea that was there. So I think things like this, it's a great opportunity for residents, new or old, to learn what this place has to offer.
I mean, I learned a lot even just putting the map together. I mean, I don't want to call it the Royer Trail, but it's like there's a lot of it's really interesting to see the history of Royer. I didn't know that Todd Fram had I think it's two vultures or something on on the Champaign County Historic, on the courthouse. So there's a lot of like Easter eggs in the map. Like if you look through it, you'd see, I did some pretty tight writing on it to make it really simple and easy to understand, you know, like just really clean, not long, because there are, you know, there are links, and you go to those links and you will see a lot of text, and that's great. But I was able to like read through that and just sort of tighten things up a little bit. But people have left a lot of history behind for us to examine and look at. And I, you know, back to the Midwest winter situation, the biggest thing I miss, I lived in Chicago for many years, and I miss, and in Minneapolis, but I miss like these shared paths, you know, these spaces where you see other people walking and, you know, other people are like out there doing something, and it's really motivating to me to see that. So that's the other thing I thought could be kind of cool. And I know that like I know we're going to be getting a couple hundred people over here in this MTD. I think the MTD building is going to be, so we're going to have a lot more people coming to our downtown, and I'd love to get them moving around, you know, looking at stuff. Otherwise, you just don't. I also, one of the other aspects of the work I create is I'm always trying to invite people who might not feel comfortable or might not feel welcomed to explore spaces and feel like they are welcomed in those spaces. So that's another aspect of it.
Oh, go ahead.
Thank you. You mentioned the Royer District, and that was what came to my mind, because that was one of the very first projects that this commission handled back in 2008 and 9, about that time when we started it. And I was curious, had you thought about guiding people a little bit more that way, or is it because of the traffic situation?
There's a lot of there's a ton of Royer buildings on here, quite a few. But I am just trying to create like a 2-mile, like a loop. Like what I did mid-block crossings for a lot of these, so you don't have to wait at any red lights. You can actually, and I know on the Bike Pedestrian Management Commission, it's safer. Mid-block crossings are safer than intersections, because intersections, vehicles have too many choices. So it confuses them. So I did a lot of like mid-block crossing, but again, I'm open. I'm cool with whatever we would like to do. The biggest feedback I keep getting is there's you walk through the farmer's market. It's through let's just say you're at the co-op and you go straight. I mean, you all know about that little hidden sidewalk that takes you right to like Oregon, like you just cut through. But people are like, so much parking lot. And I'm like, well, I don't know. I'm like, well, have you walked it? That's what I keep saying. I'm like, have you walked it? I don't know. But yeah, so I'm really open to like new paths, new thoughts. Someone else was like, what if you did a figure 8? And I'm like, okay, I'm up for a figure 8. I also wanted to get people by, CU Adventures in Space. I wanted to get you down to 25 o'clock. I wanted to get you through the Boneyard. I wanted to get you to what's the new business that's coming in, the new grocery store, H Mart. I wanted to get walking by H Mart. So people coming out of H Mart would be like, what's this? So yeah, there was sort of some strategy involved in moving people around that way. Also, obviously, you would choose the shady side of the street for all the reasons. So those are some thoughts. I have people going by Leal School. It's the only tricky part there is I have that little secret sidewalk between the school and the playground. So I'm not sure if they'd be open to that idea. But yeah, I'm open to whatever we need, whatever would work. Whatever, I mean, I'm at a point now where I'm like, well, what could we do? Like I could do spray chalk, but I'm really trying hard to because I think once it's on the ground, people once people see like it's a path, they would do it. But until then, it's just like, well, look at this thing. Like I think people want the physical object, and that's like for the Urbana Amble, I do painted sticks. This year I broke down and got signs. But I do painted sticks, which is like a physical object that it's those yellow and green sticks. People find those very comforting and they like them. So I could do, spray chalk. I could do some kind of pop-up signs. So that's my only other thought of like what next steps could be, but I'm unsure.
Yeah. I was wondering, have you thought of going north to the King School neighborhood around there in the park?
Is that Crossing University?
It is Crossing University.
It's Crossing
That's
University.
the
Yeah,
problem,
because
right?
that was our other problem was Crystal Lake Park. We wanted to go to Crystal Lake Park. And there's the crossing by Culvers, which is probably the safest crossing. And so it would getting people across the street there. And then you would edge Crystal Lake Park, which is doing like a beautiful renovation. And you'd be going by Carl, which would be really helpful too, right? Because you'd have a lot of people who are in that building all day trying to figure out how to get out and do something,
Yeah.
you know, and you have a lot of visitors there too.
Yeah,
So
I've noticed that that's the best bike crossing too that I use all the time.
It's the only one I use.
Yeah, me too.
I know, and I mean, yeah, the commission was not excited about the upgrades that IDOT brought, but IDOT brought the updates.
A lot of work, you should be commended.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. That's all I got.
Presentation and making us all more aware of what's here.
Cool. Well, yeah, well, let me try to figure out, I think what I'm going to do is just keep presenting to people and then, because I keep I'm trying to like get similar, I'm trying to figure out, as any person who's done any kind of project, you're always waiting for similar feedback from people. And you all have been really nice. I'll be honest. It's so refreshing to be around art-centric people. So thank you. I really appreciate this.
Annie, I would just suggest, because, you know, obviously being city staff, that, you know, talking about tangible or like physical, not, you know, you have a map that's on a screen or something, but making it literally on the ground involves a lot of working parts. We're about to do a presentation about the new mural that Alicia helped out with, and it's, you know, it takes a lot of work to put paint on the ground, especially when you're going all over a town. But I feel like it'd be great to somehow make your audience Public Works. So I'm not sure if you've reached out to specific department heads at Public Works, or I know John Zeman's, I think, one of the staff members for BPAC, but
Yeah, I've received feedback from them.
yeah, I
so,
mean, there's a
yeah.
lot of feedback to give, especially when it comes to doing it.
Yeah.
But I think that, you know, we can discuss things further on our end if you guys would like to have some sort of discussion in future meetings. But it would be definitely good to talk about possibilities if there are some.
Yeah, and the biggest thing from the actual infrastructure is you're going to have to make, some of our streets are not accessible. A lot of those brick sidewalks would have to there'd have to be changes, whether you re-brick them or clean them up or take out the brick altogether. And so you'd have to really pinpoint money in that direction. The good news is paint on sidewalks paint on sidewalk lasts forever. It's cars that tear up the paint. So paint on sidewalks is it's not a lot of maintenance once you get it done. That's what you really do want a good route. You know, you want a route that people love and like doing and are comfortable with. So that's because once it's there, it works. But I know, that's why I'd love to do spray chalk or spray paint or even just little sign, I don't know, something, just to get people to walk it and look and think about it, you know?
Is there one in Crystal Lake Park?
No.
Thinking that, you know, when I actually drove through it, instead of always driving by at one end or the other and never going through it, and I suddenly discovered all these different parts of the park that I never knew about after living here for a very long time. It's like what you said. And,
Yeah.
you know, just something, even if you're using your painted sticks,
Yeah.
you know.
And Crystal Lake Park is going through a great renovation, and they'll be changing their streets to have a bike lane on one side. It'll be one directional traffic, so there'll be a bike lane running path on one side. And they're doing a ton of like upgrades and just sort of rethinking how those spaces operate, which is very cool. So yeah, you're never going to get in 2 miles. I don't want, you know, you're never going to get a route that has everything and all the parts and pieces. But I would love if we could get people, you know, connecting to our downtown more intelligently, like feeling comfortable being like, well, I might as well just check this thing out and see what it is. You know, that's sort of my goal.
Luck with it.
Cool. Thank you. I appreciate all your feedback. This is really helpful.
Okay, so shall we move on to the staff report now?
Hello, everyone. I have quite a lot of updates, but I'll probably try to be brief on some of this just because Cameron's not going to be joining us this evening. He's still recovering, I would say, from all the hard work he's been doing. But there are some other things going on just besides the mural, so I just wanted to go through that. So we did not have our June meeting, so I just wanted to catch you guys up on some more things, but we had our Urbana Arts Grant sneak peek event at the top of June at Gallery Art Bar. It was really exciting to just see some of the grantees come together, meet each other, get to know about who's got what event coming up, and then also just to have our own commissioner, Mark Anthony, sort of present all the winners and tell us a little bit about what their projects are. Shortly following that event, the CU BIPOC Artist Collective had their Juneteenth celebration at Gallery Art Bar. We had a really fun project. Basically, we had these barn quilts that were blank with only the pattern on there, and then we had a paint by numbers sort of activity with those. And this is something that was tied to the Juneteenth freedom quilts and learning about the codes of freedom quilts during the Underground Railroad, and then sort of collaborating that idea with Midwestern barn quilts. So a bunch of people came out. It was in partnership with the Certified Organic Illinois Soul event that happened that night. So there were a ton of people who came by. We got people to paint at least one shape, and they are now on display in the lobby here at City Hall. And then one of them is on campus at the Art and Design Library. So if you take a look at some point, you can see the quilts kind of around town. There's another picture of them. All right, the big project of this past month has been the market mural with Cameron Rabb, the artist. So I basically have a slideshow of a lot of different photos, and I'm going to just go through them so you can see some of the process shots that we have, and I'll tell you a little bit about what you're seeing. So this picture right here is an overhead shot that was taken with a drone to kind of capture just how big this mural is. And just as a refresher, this mural is located at the Lincoln Square Mall parking lot, right on the north side of where the farmers market happens. So this mural is 205 feet by 24 feet, which totals up to around 5,000 square feet. Cameron, the artist, was selected, as you all probably remember. He shared his portfolio with us, and you guys voted on that. But here on this slide, we have some images. On the top right is a cluster of inspirational photos that Cameron shared with the Market Mural Committee, the city staff, just to kind of talk about some initial inspirations that he had from his childhood. And as you can see, there's a draft below. So the bottom image is sort of like a draft of the mural. And this was something that he shared with city staff to kind of give us an idea of what he was thinking. And you can see here, there's sort of a comic or cartoon-like viewpoint of a cityscape. And that's what we went off of. One of the first steps was getting the site prepared. So here are a couple of photos of Public Works taking care of some of the cracks that were in that section of the road and sealing it. So this was something that we wanted to do to make sure that not like a ton of paint was getting wasted on just flooding into the cracks. So it was all sealed up. This U-Haul U-Box became our best friend, as it was our storage unit temporarily during the installation process. On the right-hand side, you'll see a photo of empty buckets, and those are the buckets from the, I think, 16 5-gallon buckets that we used of primer to prime to prime the mural. So a huge amount of primer was used. Here's some images of volunteers coming out on a nice shady morning to prime the space. We had to use leaf blowers and brooms to sort of dust off the area to make sure a lot of dirt was taken care of, and then the priming sort of began. We had a lot of wonderful volunteers that came out to help paint. Yeah, on the right we have Alicia, who's one of our commissioners, and Cameron was able to sort of grid out big blocks of color and then using tape to kind of mark different shapes. So it was really easy for volunteers to show up, kind of check in with Cameron and know what they needed to paint and what color that was going to be. This is a video, but I'm not sure. Nope. I don't think it's going to play. Just some shots. Cameron ended up finding a tool, and then he made his own tool, but we used protractors to keep tabs on the angles for some of these shapes, because it being a cityscape, almost all of the angles were the same because of the perspective that he used. So I don't have a picture of his final tool, but he had a protractor with a giant yardstick attached, and that was kind of the tool that we dragged around to make marks. More volunteers came out. We got really lucky. And thankfully, the Urbana Park District, a couple of people reached out from the Park District asking if we needed more tents for shade. And not only did they bring tents that we could borrow, but they also helped out for a couple of chunks of time throughout that week. So it was great to get support from the Park District. This is just a fun shot of some of the supplies that we had kind of strung about throughout the day. As you can see on the bottom part of the table, there's a printed out gridded version of the mural, and from one side to the other side, it was labeled for each column to be A through Z, and then it continued after that. And that was an easy way for Cameron or whoever to kind of communicate to others, oh, are you working on row or column S, square, whatever, 1 through 6. So that was kind of one of the ways that we were able to kind of parse things out. Here's an almost completed overhead shot. You can see how it's a cityscape. There are green spaces to kind of represent parks. Things are pretty geometric, and in this image, you can still kind of see tape. So when volunteers painted large chunks of space, Cameron might come back in after that and then do some touch-ups. So it was kind of a blend of getting big chunks done and then going back in once that was dry to do detail work. This was our ribbon cutting that we had just this past Saturday. Barbara, front and center there. It was really great to see commissioners. I think Mark Anthony was behind the camera in front of us at some point. Yeah, it was pretty warm that morning.
It was warm, and I was overdressed.
Yeah, so it was pretty exciting to do the ribbon cutting. For those who weren't there on Saturday, it was really, it was busy Saturday market, and people got to kind of witness us doing the ribbon cutting, which was great. I just wanted to say thanks to all of the volunteers, but also to Cameron and Paige, his wife, and his 2 little boys who were excellent volunteers. And I think that you as a commission made a great choice selecting Cameron. I think that he was very kind. He worked well with volunteers. city staff and myself, we really enjoyed working with him. He's a talented artist, and I am excited to see more of what he does.
It looked beautiful when we were just walking down to see it for the first time in person. It's amazing.
It makes for really cool photos.
Yeah.
It looks nice in the rain.
I couldn't bring myself to drive up that street anymore because I didn't want
Yeah.
to spoil it. So I went around.
Well, and that's sort of part of this project is kind of traffic calming, and it's so easy if you're someone who, you know, goes to the Co-op a lot or heads into Lincoln Square Mall to, as soon as you're done doing your shopping, to kind of whip around that area to get out and go out of the parking lot. So it's kind of nice that people are kind of taking it easy as they're exiting that side.
This is an adorable picture. Who took this?
Me.
Bravo.
I
you
did,
Really, you
but
really captured it. What a great spirit.
And this was the last day. This was Friday night before the market 2 weeks ago, because we had a break before we did the ribbon cutting. And I think all of us were really exhausted. They had been working. I had been working all week on it. I think probably all of us clocked in 65 plus hours on working on this mural. So they're troopers. They did a great job, and I think that we were lucky to have them work on this. That's all I have for this mural, but I do have more to share with you in the report. I just wanted to bring up some of the events that are starting to happen that are the grantee events for the arts grants. The aftermarket, which many of you might be familiar with because this has happened in the past also last year. This happens at the Rose Bowl. It's May through October, every Saturday afternoon. I think it's 12 p.m. onward. This Saturday, happening at that same time, is the Postmark event that we have in partnership with 40 North. So we have a monthly event. Last month, I believe, was color, the theme following Pride Month because it was June. And then this month there is a costume walk. So businesses downtown will have different costumes on display from the Krannert Center costume department. So they've worked with that department to kind of bring out some really exciting pieces to display, and it should be pretty fun. The CU BIPOC Artist Collective is having another meetup on July 18th from 5:30 to 7:30 at Anita Purvis Nature Center, and then also Busey Woods. And we are going to be meeting up, doing a quick tour of Anita Purvis, and then going on a guided nature hike with Tomas Delgado, and then finishing off the evening with a nature-inspired art activity. More from grantees. The Harmony Through Beads grantee or group is having their first workshop of their 7 workshops. These are beading workshops. They're working on a large community quilt where each piece is made by a different person, and it's a beaded quilt. So this first one is on July 20th at Urbana Free Library from 10:30 to 12:30. And it's free. Also, Girls Rock CU will be having their showcase. It looks like the start time is 1 p.m. with the show starting at 2 p.m. on July 27th, and that is at Rose Bowl. Another exciting event that's coming up. Last year, we were able to get Starling Shakespeare Company to come out and do a performance of Julius Caesar last summer in July at Boneyard Creek. So they are doing another tour of the Midwest. So they'll be performing 12th night at the Boneyard Creek Crossing on July 21st from 6:30 to 8 p.m. And I believe they will be also doing a workshop before the show starts. But it was a great time. Last year we had Main Scoop with their ice cream cart, and people kind of brought blankets out and packed a picnic dinner and then enjoyed some free Shakespeare in the park. So that will be happening again. And then the last thing I wanted to let you all know is that Urbana Arts and Culture is doing an art pop-up at the Urbana Farmers Market. We're doing a tie-dye project, so residents who are visiting the farmers market can come by the tent that we'll have and make their own tie-dye piece of art. So it'll be really fun and also free. And that is all that I have for the staff report. Anyone have any questions or events that they want to highlight?
Lots of choices.
I just had a couple questions going back to the market mural. It looks exceptional. I really loved the community participation. I know that when we were talking about it, you know, the initial idea was that we were applying for a grant. We didn't get the grant, but we continued on with the project and sort of followed the guidelines that is Bloomberg or something that did the grant. I'm curious to know if a program like this, you know, considering the cost and the city staff time that went into it, I'm curious if it's sustainable to consider doing asphalt art murals in the future. I know you don't have the numbers in front of you, but I'm just sort of curious what your thoughts are in terms of like what our actual expenses were and what that might look like in the future.
I think that there's a lot of things that we learned with this project. One being that it takes a lot of paint to cover roads that are in less than ideal condition. So the better condition the roads are in, the better quality and the smoother that the paint goes on and the less paint you end up using. We decided to use a paint that had a lot of components in it that would make it last longer, and that was a little bit more expensive than maybe a ground mural that's just done with a cheaper acrylic latex paint or some sort of outdoor paint. So I think that you can do this project at different levels of like budget, I guess, but kind of depending on how vibrant you want things to be, how much you want the color to last in the sun, where is it located, how big is it, also the design itself. I think that this design was pretty intricate with the angles really needing to be exact or close to exact. So I think that larger murals could be done that are more simple in design, or smaller murals could be done with the same intricacy. But I think ultimately, if you're going to have volunteer help, things need to be a little bit more simplified, which worked in our favor this time around, and that was kind of why I think he was a finalist among the 25 plus artists. But I think that it would be amazing for Urbana to see some more ground murals, but I do think that we've learned some lessons, and so we would probably maybe go about things slightly differently in terms of design, prepping the site. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the quality of the mural is, really exceptional. Honestly, like world class. I'm glad that, you know, as a commission when we discussed it, I think we picked a good choice of in terms of the artist that was able to pull this together. And I think you're right that it was easy to get folks involved because of the design. I'm just curious to see if because I think asphalt murals or any outdoor murals don't have a long lifetime, and so just thinking of if we need to consider a replacement of that one, or, you know, rotating out a handful of sites, you know, would it be feasible for us to allocate funds or consider TIF funding or something else for this?
Maintenance-wise, in the contract that Cameron has, he will be doing touch-ups after a year's time, and then, if needed, after 2 years' time. But going into this, we knew that this mural would probably last 2 to 3 years. So in terms of what happens after that, it could mean a brand new mural. It could mean power washing it off and choosing a different location for a mural, or maybe a different spot somewhere. So that's sort of what the maintenance plan looks like.
Okay. Do you feel that, in terms of just supporting the artists too, do you feel that what the grant did fairly compensated Cameron for the work? Do you feel that the compensation part of it was adequate?
I don't know. I probably would want to let him speak on that, and possibly in the future when maybe on a different meeting time or somehow. Okay. And anyone could definitely reach out to him and ask more questions, but I think that he could probably give us some answers on that.
Sure. I mean, this is our first time doing something like this, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to make sure if we do it again, we do it better, right? Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah, it was a real pleasure working with Cameron and with all the volunteers and his family. When you discover some things when you're out there, because of the material that was used to fill in the cracks is not the best material for really getting the paint to adhere very well. So I think those are things to consider, of course, in the future of the site, and having as much asphalt as possible that takes the paint well without so many cracks. Mm-hmm. Unless there's a better substance that can be used for filling in the cracks that allows the paint to really soak up better.
I'd love to maybe take a look at it with Public Works and just stare at it for a little bit and just think on that and have a discussion.
Is it okay if I mention something at the Lake House on August 30th? Is
Absolutely.
it too early? Since we have another meeting next month?
Yes, if there's something that's happening towards the beginning of August, since we aren't meeting until later, definitely.
I'll mention it then. Mm-hmm. On your calendars, please. August 30th at the Lake House, unless it rains. Then it'll be the next day.
I am starting to try to send out more invitations to events to you all through that Arts and Commission just contact list that I have. So take it or leave it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think you do a good job with that. And you're really good about putting stuff up on, and I'm sure the Park District's going to do it too. But it never hurts to have extra set of eyes. But you're really good about posting stuff on the Facebook page for this commission, too. So we all just grab it and share it. Good cheerleaders. Great. Well, if we have no other business, can we have a motion to adjourn? Anybody want to be the one?
I'll motion to adjourn.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all so much.